Hi there, it's Rachel from Rachel Scraps Crochet and happy fall. I have a video tutorial for you today. I'm going to show you how to make these really adorable little wrapped pieces of candy. Let's get into it. So to make your wrapped candy, you need basically the usuals. You need some yarn, and this is size 4 cotton yarn in pink. You can do it in any color you want. So the face detail yarn, I'm using some pink plush yarn for the cheeks, and then I have some black yarn for the mouth and eyebrows. Some stitch markers and a yarn needle, my scissors, my crochet hook, and this is 3.5 millimeter. I don't know if you can see that on here. I'll try. The safety eyes, these are size 8 millimeter, and they're just basic black safety eyes. Of course, stuffing, and then the pattern. So you can follow along the video, or I do have the downloadable, printable version on my Etsy store, and I'm going to put the link in the video description box. So this pattern comes in color. I just printed it black and white, so you can see, the black and white here, of course, but it is available in color. And it prints out to be 8.5 by 11 inch size, and it's a few pages long. All right, we are beginning. We have our yarn and our crochet hook and a stitch marker ready. Make your magic ring. Of course, you can do chain 4 if you prefer that. I'm just going to do a magic ring and a little slip stitch. All right, we're going to do 6 single crochet around the magic ring. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And go ahead and tighten up that ring. I know I did 6, but we're going to count anyway. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this little guy right here, 6. It's kind of smushed. And this next round, we are going to do an increase in every stitch around, but we're going to do it in the back loop only. Of course, that little guy's hard to get it into. I'm going to put the stitch marker in that first one. Keep track of where you're at is a good idea always. So there's the first increase, and we're going to do that all the way around. And I do crochet kind of tightly. But it still gets the point across, so. Oops. And there's all of them. So we are going to be using these front loop stitches that we didn't crochet into later. After this next round, we're going to put a stitch marker in one of them just to kind of keep track of it. If you're using plush yarn, that would be especially helpful since it's harder to see in plush. So this next round, we are going to do in both loops, single crochet followed by an increase all the way around the round. So there's a single and an increase all the way. All right, so like I said, we're going to mark that first stitch with the front loops. So you can see the front loop stitches. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We are going to crochet into all of those. So I'm just going to put the stitch marker in that last one, the 6th one. You can put it in the first one as well. I mean, if you have plush yarn, it might be helpful to do that. They're sometimes hard to see. My yarn, luckily, I can see better, but if you're using plush especially, you might want to mark those stitches all, like, a couple of them, the beginning, the end one. So this next round, we are going to do a single crochet, an increase, and another single crochet all the way around. And there's the first one. Stitch marker. Increase. Followed by single crochet another single crochet, increase, and single crochet, single, increase, and single, and then we're done with that round. You should have 24 stitches at this point. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 1, 2, 3, and 24. So I did not miscount, I don't think. Well, I didn't miscount. So one more round of increasing, and what we're going to do is 3 single crochets and then an increase all the way around. So that's 1, 2, 3, and an increase. And again, we're going to do 1, 2, 3, and an increase. So 2 single crochets in the increase stitch. And we're going to keep going all the way around. Oops, hit my tripod. That's the final single crochet, and now increase. So if you have to catch up, pause the video, you'll finish that round. And you should have 30 stitches at the end of this round. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 30. All right, so now we are going to do 7 full rounds of just a single crochet in each stitch. And I will definitely not make you watch all that on here. So if you are crocheting along with me, you can go ahead and pause the video now or in just a moment, and then unpause it when you are done with yours, so that way you don't have to watch me doing all mine. But I'm going to put it in fast forward so you don't have to watch it all. So again, just a single crochet in every stitch all the way around, and do that for 7 rounds. And I will meet you back around at the end of that. We have that 7 rounds of single crochet only. We got to do one more round and we'll put in the eyes. So we are going to do 3 single crochets and a decrease all the way around. So that's 1. I put my stitch marker back in. 2, 3, and now a decrease. And we're going to keep doing that. So 3 single crochet and a decrease all the way around. Okay, so since I'm ending on a decrease, I don't want that to loosen up. Loose decreases don't look good. So I'm going to secure that on my stitch marker. And I'm going to add the eyes. So after that last round, you should have 24 stitches. And we are going to add the eyes on the side opposite the stitch marker. So right across. So you want to go up like 11 to 12 stitches. Doesn't have to be perfect, but it gives you a good approximation. I'm just going to do it visually. So follow it up. And the first eye, I'm looking just to make sure, is going to go between rounds 7 and 8 across from the stitch marker. So go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 7 and 8. And I'm just going to count one more time just to make sure. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I did put that between 7 and 8. And then verify that it is, actually I'm going to move just a tiny bit over, just so it's more across from the stitch markers. That's better. 7 and 8. Okay. Just like that. So you can actually add the eyes between round 6 and 7 as well. So I added a picture that shows how it looks with both options. And then the next one is going to go between rounds 11 and 12. And you want it lined up with this eye. So we have 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So it was in between those ones. If your stitches slant a lot, you can always try to move it up or, you know, go up a little bit to keep them lined up. But I like how that looks. So I'm going to go with that. And I'm going to put the back on the bottom one. And I'm going to wait one more round, put the back on the top one just so it doesn't get in the way. I don't want the back to be in the way when I crochet this next round. So I'm just going to be careful not to knock into it. And I'm going to keep going. This next round is going to be a single crochet, a decrease, and a single crochet all the way around. So we have a single crochet here. And a decrease. And a single crochet. And we're going to keep doing that all the way around. So now I'm going to put, as long as that doesn't get loose. Okay, I'm going to put that backing on that eye. Now we're going to stuff it. And you don't want to stuff it super full at this point because we can keep stuffing it as we go. So just do a little bit to begin with. Just kind of get it behind that point of that first eye. Make sure that the stuffing doesn't pull the eye crooked, because sometimes it kind of makes the eye go like that and it looks weird. So I'll put a tiny bit more in there. And the next round, actually I should probably count these stitches first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So after 18 stitches, that's good. We're going to do the next round. And it's a single crochet, decrease, all the way around. So we have a single crochet, put in your stitch marker, of course, and a decrease. And I'm going to do that all the way around. Decrease. Single crochet. And the decrease. So at that, you should have 12 stitches at the end of this round. And I'm going to throw a little bit more stuffing in there while my finger still fits in there. I'm going to stuff it some more. It's going to get really small this next round. So if you have to stuff more, definitely do it now. This next round, we are going to decrease all the way around. So we're going to end up with 6 stitches. All right, so you should have 6 decreases for that round. And this next round, we are going to keep crocheting because we're going to go right into this wrapper piece. This is a no-sew pattern, which is nice. We are going to do single crochet in the front loop only of every stitch around. Okay, and now we are going to increase every stitch. And it'll be a little easier once these increases are done because we'll have more stitches, more space to work in. So put a stitch marker in the first one of that increase. As long as I don't forget to put the second one in there after doing the stitch marker, we're good. 2. 3, 4, shut the door. 5, 6, pick up sticks. 7, 8, lay them straight. 9, 10. Well, we're not going to begin again because we have to do 11 and 12. So 12 stitches at the end of that round. And done. And now, this next round, we are going to do a single crochet followed by an increase all the way around. So single, and single crochet increase all the way around this round. So after the single crochet increases, we are going to do a single crochet, increase, oops, and single crochet all the way around. So single crochet, increase, and single crochet. And then we are going to do 3 rounds where we do just a single crochet in each stitch all the way around. Whoops, so you should have 24 stitches and a single crochet each one for 3 rounds. And now we are going to do that little, I don't know what you call that, those little things around the outside. The little scallops, I guess you would call them. So to do those little scallops, we are going to first slip stitch into the first stitch of the round and to add your stitch marker. The next stitch is going to be a single crochet, and we're going to do 2 stitches in the next stitch. So it's going to be a half double crochet and a double crochet together in that one stitch. And then the next one is going to be a half double crochet and a single crochet, both in the same stitch. So again, that's how it looks. So again, we are going to do a slip stitch, and then the next stitch a single crochet. In the next stitch we are going to do a half double crochet and then a double crochet. The next stitch we are going to do a half double crochet and a single crochet. So it's going to keep repeating around in that same method. for the last one, you should have 4 stitches left. And it's going to be a slip stitch, and then a single crochet. And the next stitch we're going to do the half double crochet and a double crochet. And then we're going to do a half double crochet and a single crochet in the last stitch. Now you can cut your yarn. I already cut mine. We are going to take the stitch marker out and then add a slip stitch in that first stitch. Pull your yarn through and then grab your yarn needle and and then put it right through that same stitch that you slip stitched into, so it goes toward the inside of the wrapper end, and then flip your wrapper inside out, and then go through the stitches carefully. You only want to go through the ones on the back. You don't want to push it through into the front. You don't want these to show in the front of your work. So just follow them down. And sometimes it's hard to get them in there if you crochet really tight like me. And I'm going to bring it right down into the middle thing. Down here. Right at the inside of that hole. The hole here that I did was really small, but if you were using like a bigger yarn and it left you a big opening here where the stuffing's inside, you don't want the stuffing to come out, so you can use the tail to sew that hole up. Just kind of grab the stitch across from it, pull it tight. You grab another one over here. Of course, make sure that they're not going to show through the front. And then you kind of create a knot. Pull it nice and tight. Really, really tight if you can. Make sure it didn't warp anything. Look around the front, make sure it all looks good still. And I think it does stuffing coming out, but then once you have that knotted and tight, put your needle right through into the hole. And then I like to look around and just make sure the needle is not coming out, because then it will leave a little stitch showing on the front and you don't want that. Sorry about my yarn squeaking. So I'm going to just bring this yarn tail. I mean, you could go through any stitch really, but just bring it out. And just kind of pull it tight. You can clip it short here, or technically you can bring it out the beginning hole on this side, because we're going to make one more wrapper. And you can tie it to the other one if you want to bring it out through that beginning hole. And just kind of leave it there for now. You can do that too. It's really up to you. I didn't do that. But you can, because you can also like kind of pull it in, use that to pull it in a little bit if you want to. I like mine looser. But you can use it to kind of tighten that up if you desire to. And then we're going to add the next wrapper piece. So, and the reason why we did a stitch marker is because that's where we're going to put the first stitch for this part. So to do the other wrapper, we are going to put a slip stitch on our hook. And then we're going to go into that first stitch that the stitch marker was in. Okay, yarn over, pull the loop through, and then we're going to yarn over again and pull it through both, and that's going to act as our first single crochet. So now we're just going to do a single crochet in every single one of these other front loops. Then we're going to go into this one with a stitch marker again because that's our first one of the round. And we are going to increase each stitch. So the first increase will go into this one that our stitch marker was in. Okay, so 2 in that one. Put the stitch marker back in the first one. And then increase around. Now the rest of the wrapper is made exactly the same way as the first one. So I am not going to show all that in the video. But if you want to go back to that part, after you increase the round, you are just going to follow the rest of the wrapper end pattern for the rest of it and do it exactly the same way as the first side. So this part gives us, increasing each stitch leaves you with 12 stitches. So just follow the other wrapper side for the rest of this one. And I'll meet you back here to show you how to finish it and do the face. All right, I'm on the very last stitch of the last scallop on the second wrapper. So I'm going to do a half double crochet and a single crochet again. A slip stitch to that first stitch that the stitch marker is in. Cut our yarn and fasten off. And then put the yarn needle on. So we're going to go through that stitch that we add the slip stitch into. Pull it tight, and like the first wrapper end, we are going to, sorry, I'm going off the screen again. We're going to just sew down to the bottom, and remember that I had added that tail. This was from the other end, and that was an optional thing. You didn't have to do that, just if you wanted to. So, oops, we're going to keep sewing down and get this yarn tail to the bottom. And then, now this first side of the wrapper was a closed hole, so we don't have to tie that shut like we did in the first one. So I'm not gonna do that, but I am gonna take, this was the beginning stitch, or the beginning yarn tail. I'm gonna sew that through into the inside as well. Make sure it looks nice and tight. I have 3 tails in here. You might have 2 if you didn't bring the tail from here into here. I've got the 3. So I'm just going to tie them all together. A little knot, not a huge knot. We don't want it to show. So just tie it. And make sure that this didn't get pulled too tight. I pulled it just a little bit tight. Tie a knot. And then you can add all 3. I cut this short so I don't have a super long one. You can add all 3 on your yarn needle, or you can use your crochet hook to sew them into the body. And I'm going to sew it because that beginning hold from the magic ring might be annoying to try to get the hook into. So add them all on the yarn needle, and then do it inside out again. Put it right down in the middle. Make sure, look around, make sure it's not sticking out anywhere. And right into the body. And give it a pull. And this might be a pain in the butt to do. might be difficult, so there we go. All right, take my nail off. Now I like to make sure the wrappers are right side out again. Look how cute that is. And I'm gonna use my crochet hook just to pull them in because I don't like to leave the tails inside really short because I feel like they're gonna end up sticking out. So I like to have the whole length in there if I can. I want it to look good when it's on a craft table, but then also stay good while kids play with it. Or when it becomes a decoration or whatever. So I like to keep as much as the yarn tail in there as I possibly can. Now I'm going to show you how to put the face on, and it's pretty simple, just a couple quick steps. There's one without eyebrows and one with. You can kind of see the difference, see what you like better. This one I did not use plush yarn for the pink, so you can also see the difference of the cheeks. This is just regular pink yarn, and this is plush yarn. I think these look a little more poofy, so I'm going to go with the plush again. So I'm going to do the cheeks first. So if you go in a stitch that's not the stitches we're using, come in right at the bottom of the eye. And some stuffing wants to come out with it. So I just stitch around at a little angle. You could do your cheek straight, you could do a little angle, however you like. I just did a couple stitches width, and then I'm going to go over it a few times just so that they're a little more substantial. But you could make them really subtle cheeks and make them really small. It's really up to you. So I'm going to go right through that with stuffing. All right, and now I'm going to pick my next stitch for the other cheek, and I want it to be kind of the same as that one. So I'm going to go, it's kind of in the middle. So I'm going to go through this one and see. That's a little too much. Well, I'm going to go through here and then see if I like how that looks. So pull it tight. And then I went one stitch over from the eye pretty much, and then kind of lined up with the middle of the eye. So I'm going to find the stitch over here that's similar to that, which it looks like it's going to be this one. So I'm going to go with that and see how it looks. You can undo it if you don't like how it looks. Of course, it's hard to always, they're not always going to be symmetrical exact because the stitches kind of go at a slant sometimes. So that was 2. I did 3. I went around it 3 times on the side, so I'm going to go around it 3 times on the side as well. And then on the last one, I'm going to bring it out through where the yarn started. Just like that. Give it just a tiny tug. Now, if you like how it looks, which I like how that looks, I think it looks good, then you tie these 2 yarn tails together. Make sure they are for sure coming out the same stitch. If you tie them together and they're not coming out the same stitch, you won't be able to pull them into it like you need to. So I'm just going to cut that one to match that length of that one. And I'm just going to use my crochet hook because it's a little faster. Okay, man, it's so short. I'll pull it in. And then my hook stuck. Okay, take the fuzzies off. Looks good. There's a little hole, looks like a little mouth. Doop, it's not. So we're going to do the mouth now with the black yarn. I think this is a size 3 yarn, not a 4, so it's a little tiny bit thinner than the yarn I used for the rest. So again, you're going to go out a different stitch that's not your mouth stitches, and I'm not going to use that hole because I don't want it to get any bigger. So I'm going to go through like right here. I'm going to go right through the corner of the cheek, leave that tail sticking out again, go down into the next corner of the cheek, and then, if you can see that, I'm going to bring this needle out right through the middle of the mouth down here, right through the center, because you want to use it to, got fuzzy, so the stuffing's trying to come out, loop around it and use that tail to pull it down into a little mouth shape. Now, if you are not doing eyebrows, you would bring this yarn back through the same exact hole as this one and bring it to here. Pull it out, tie that knot, and hide it. But I'm going to make eyebrows directly from the mouth. So I am going to go up instead of going down. And I'm going to go up to where I want to put my eyebrows. So I'm going to pick a stitch down here, or up here, and pull that up. Make sure the mouth looks good. You don't want to pull too tight and have the mouth look weird. So kind of, as you're doing this, you make sure the mouth still looks the way you want it to look. And, all right. So now, go where you want your eyebrows. I want them raised up a little bit so it looks kind of happy. So you're going to kind of trace across about where you want the next eyebrow to go. Make sure you check the first one you made and you like how that looks. And then kind of match that one across. Go into that one. And bring it down through that hole where you began your black yarn. Pull through. And obviously before you tie a knot, you want to make sure you like it. So I think that looks cute. Well, I kind of want that other eyebrow raised a little bit. I gotta loosen it so it looks, yeah, that's better. Okay, so now I'm gonna cut that tail so it's the same length as the other one, or roughly. Once you make sure they are for sure coming out the same hole, tie a knot. And you can use your yarn needle or your crochet hook again to pull those tails through. I'll just use my hook again, whichever you prefer. Yeah, almost got it, fishing it through. That last little nub. Oops, that last little nub. And it is through. So, oops, I'm going to go like this. Pull it out that way. Okay. So get all the little fuzzies from the stuffing that tried to come out off, and make sure you have these wrappers right side out again. And that is all done. So you can see 3 of them. You can see the 2 with the eyebrows and 1 without. And just kind of, I think these would look really cute if you made a ton of them in different colors and put them in like a little basket on your craft table. I think these would sell really fast as like one of those little fun toys that little kids want, because you put it in their reach and then they're like, yay, I want that. And they beg the parents for it. They're just plain cute. So I hope you enjoyed that video and that you have fun making one for yourself. So again, if you prefer a downloadable printable version that's on paper, it's a 8.5 inch by 11 inch size piece of paper for a regular printer, then you can buy the pattern. I will put the link for that again in the description for the video. And also I'll link to these little guys, these other little patterns up here. So I think these ones are really cute and festive for this time of year too. So thank you for watching and enjoy crocheting.